Well, good afternoon. My name is Frank Hartkamp. I'm from RVO, one of the organizers of the Groene Paper event. We are starting our Thursday afternoon session on eTwinning, and we have two speakers in our session. We have first we have Simone van Belkom, and secondly, we have Marcel Kuyten, and they will both introduce themselves in a few moments. Just some general remarks. This session will be recorded and can be seen later on, published on the Groene Paper website. And if you have any questions or comments, please use the chat function. You can read it and start discussions with the speakers. Our session will end at 1:45, so I hope we have a nice session, and I will be back at the end of the session to close. So please, Simone, start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much for this invitation, the honor to give a webinar. My name is Simone van Belkom. I'm a teacher for English at Koning Willem I College in Den Bosch in the Netherlands. And I teach English to people who work at architecture site or work with building or carpenters. I'm also an ambassador of eTwinning. So that's why they asked me to give this webinar. So Marcel, can you please introduce yourself as well?
Yes, hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Marcel Kuyten. I'm the head of the International Office of Rhine-IJssel, a VET school in Arnhem and areas around. And I don't teach anymore. I was a teacher for several years, but now I'm more with internationalization and strategic courses of the internationalization. And we do some KA1, KA2, and KA3 projects. And I'm also eTwinning ambassador, so that's why we were invited to host this event for you, because eTwinning is a very nice way to cooperate in Europe without any leaving big footprints, so always good. Next slide.
Okay, today is eTwinning about sustainable and inclusive European community. My question to you people is the following. Why do you think international contact is important? And you can see the chat. Julian is putting the link in there. You can fill in your replies in there, so then Marcel can comment on that. So why do you think international contact is important?
They're typing, so I don't want to give away our answers or opinions. There's no good or right or wrong, so. Better understanding of each other and ourselves, to be able to learn from multiple perspectives. Yes, very good. Still some people typing. Personally, I think it's important to get to know different cultures and learn from each other. Yes, I always like it sparks curiosity, and with curiosity, you are open to new things, new cultures, new opinions, and I think that's something we, as in education, we need to learn people to be open and curious around the world, in the world. So, and Peter Jellekal said co-learning and co-creating. Yes, very good. So, Simona, you have something to add from your personal perspective on why you think international contact is very important? Yes, for you personally or your students?
Yeah, And as a teacher, personally, of course, but also as a teacher, I see my students, they really grow. They have more self-esteem, more self-confidence after a project and after being able to communicate with more people in other countries. Usually I teach English as a second language, but it's like a laboratory. So we are in a class, a kind of old school. And if you have a project, if you go abroad or if you have contact with people in another country, that is the added value for them because it's more lively. That's the real life. Because if they're on a holiday, they meet people in a disco or on the beach or whatever. That's the real life. And then they forget about difficult grammar issues. So it enriches people, I think. It's very important, yeah. That's what I think. And what do you think, Marcel?
Well, I already give you my opinion about the curiosity, because for me that's very the first step in being open to any new experience. So
exactly. And we come to our next one-liner from Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It all starts with that. If you know, like, let's say English, you have far more ways to communicate and to reach a much broader audience as well. So it's very important. It's how it starts. Well, the purpose of this session I'll explain you now. It's kind of inspiring for you. I hope what we are going to do these 45 minutes. First, we will start to talk about international collaboration, why it is important. And you already answered for part of this question. And then we talk about eTwinning and the European Bauhaus. It's the theme of the year. Then we talk about the SDGs. And number 11 is the eTwinning practical example, which is on sustainable buildings and communities. And then we'll get started and we give you tips and guidance and our address for the help desk. You can always reach us after this session if you have more questions or if you want to have a follow-up or to make an appointment. So what is internationalization at home? Well, this is a means for all students to gain international experience in their own country. They don't need to travel to another country. You don't have to waste money or spend money. It's better for the environment as well. You don't have to waste CO2. It goes quicker. You can organize it in a very practical way. And the NUFIC has a model for international competences. The first one is the intercultural one. The second is the international orientation. And the third one is the personal development, last but not least. And in different professional contexts, you have various very fun, relevant and educational activities. So there's always focus on skills, attitude and knowledge. So I think Julian is going to put a little link in your chat where you can see the model of the intercultural competence, where students have the knowledge and attitudes and skills that enable them to interact successfully with other people from diverse backgrounds. And it's all an added value for them. Can you see the link?
Yes, it's in there.
Okay, so you can download that and you can watch that for yourselves, because it's quite interesting. Everything is based on that fact. eTwinning is part of internationalization at home. Why is it important? For various reasons. It's preparing your students and yourselves for a globalizing world and multicultural society. It involves the whole class, is actively working on sustainability themes and understanding other perspectives. So not only one goal, learning grammar or just vocabulary. It gives an experience to all the teachers and the students as well to work with foreign people and to develop yourselves. And it's also often easier to integrate, organize it. And it's also sustainable because we don't waste money on traveling. And so, which is very good for your environment. We come up with all kinds of inventions and nice presentations and new ideas. So that's why it is important, eTwinning. Well.
All right.
Awesome.
I have a question for the audience because we don't know what your background is, and we don't have the time to introduce everybody and talk about that. It's too short for the presentation. But I'm curious if anyone has already been active within the eTwinning world or platform. So could you please in the chat either say I never heard of it, then just type 1. I'm curious about it, then just type 2. And yes, it's a fun way of sustainable internationalization. If you have the experience already, you can type in 3. So we have some focus on where you're at in this. All right, I've got 2 2s. 1, yes. 3, and Paul never heard of it. Okay, then you're come to the right place. We'll tell you in a minute. And of course, for the people who said number 2, you're curious about it, we will also address your needs. And for Lisanna, it's interesting to hear what we have this presentation for you as well, to maybe get some new projects started. I don't know if you're already busy with them, but it'd be nice. Do we have all the guests?
Yeah, you can put it 3 for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was not participating, but I'll send a 3.
You can type it in, so 2 3s.
Yeah.
No, doesn't count.
Okay. Can you give me the next slide, Simone? All right, and another one. So what is eTwinning? The next one, please. eTwinning is a platform which funded by the European Community, European Union. So therefore, it's free. It's free to use. It's a secure digital environment. When you log in, you need to apply for an account. And when you do, there's always a little check on who you are and in what school or system you work in. Currently, with the stepping out of the United Kingdom of the EU programs, also they left the eTwinning platform. So at this moment, we have 44 countries you could have eTwinning programs with, projects with. They need to be either EU countries or EU countries that have a alliance with the European Union. It is possible to add a guest country into an eTwinning project like India or Japan or the States, but the basis of the eTwinning is that it's a working together project between at least 2 European countries or schools in the country. And what does eTwinning? eTwinning is a digital, that's what it's called, electronic twinning, is working together in a small group. So you work digital with people from other countries on a simple task or assignment, and you do it by cooperation, but it's only online. And so you don't need to travel, but you can interact, you can learn, you can co-create, you can work together on an assignment. And depending on the levels of, I'm on VET, so depending on the level, like level 1 or 2, you need more small steps to guide them in the communication with the other partners. And with the level 3 and 4 students, it's more easy. They will just go. In the first moment, they're a bit scared of talking English because the language is usually English. You can do it in English, in other languages, of course, but most of the projects are in English. And for a young adult, it's usually a little bit exciting, scary to start talking. But then when they see on the other end of the screen, there's just a boy or a girl that's also in the same age, and she eats the same meals and she does the same sports and she's have the same insecurities and also doubts about the quality of their English. So it connects, and at some point they'll just go. And I always say to my students, like, if you're in a bar in Spain and you see a nice boy or a nice girl, you're able to communicate. You can do it here as well, because that's important. At this moment, we have 1 million teachers in the whole of Europe that are doing projects in the eTwinning, or did projects in the eTwinning community. And it's for teachers for primary, secondary, VET, and higher education. So we can use it almost around the whole scope of our education stream. Can you give me the next slide, Simone? And of course, eTwinning is sustainability is a theme. It's very important. But it's also because it's internationalization at home, so you don't have to travel to leave a footprint to go somewhere. Of course, it's also interesting, but it's more inclusive to have projects where you can add all the students in your school or some students in school and have them all have the same experience by doing this project. And at this moment, of course, the SDGs is very, very hot topic in our education. So it's always nice to have one of those SDG targets to have a project about and talk about how it's for you, what can we do to change it. Can we have the...
Yeah.
Yep. So that's what already said, save about your CO2 footprint, because everything is online. Of course, that needs power and you have like computers. So there's always a footprint, but it's less than when you go with 60 students, you fly to Madrid and have a project there and fly back. It connects teachers, it builds up your network in Europe, and it's nice to have a sharing of knowledge, sharing of experiences, sharing of educational skills or needs, and talk about them between teachers. And it's good that all our students collaborate in themselves with other people from other countries, with other cultures, with other ways of looking at things. And of course, they need to be guided, because sometimes they're like communicating with each other and saying, this is stupid. But you have to learn to put what you found stupid under words. So it needs a transition in speaking, communicating, or typing by email. But so interacting on to expect, to realize what it does, your message does to the other, and have the sensitivity to react responsible and respectfully to the other. So that's one of the things you practice in when you do this kind of projects. And of course, in the eTwinning environment, there's also for teachers, there's some free webinars, there's some MOOCs, just to professionalize you as a teacher in all the skills that's needed as a teacher. So can we have the next slide? So what our experience is, if you, and that was always our advice, if you have a project, either you start a project or you join a project internationally in the eTwinning community, we'll show you later how you can find it, because you might think, I don't have a big international network, so I don't know how to communicate or find a new partner. We have nice tools for that. But what you see is, after you connected with some international partner or partners, and you've spent a little time to get to know each other, to talk about how you are as a person, how you are as a teacher, and talking about little things like making appointments, sticking to the appointments. So there's a connection, and there's a little build of trust in your relationship. And once you do the project, you go step by step to the end of the project. When it's successful and you like working with each other, and we see that mostly of the projects, the partners will start up a new project with the same partners, with maybe other students, or in the next year curricula with another class. But it's a sustainable way of putting in the effort and the time to getting to know each other, and to address all the appointments that are made in order to have a long-lasting cooperation within Europe. And it's always a good base for future projects or future exchanges of knowledge, or what, and also maybe some physical mobility, if that's an option. And what we see as the impact for students, because that's always where you do it for, is that they really open their minds, open their horizon, maybe even for the working with other cultures and other people from other backgrounds, and not friendships for life for everybody, but we have known that students, because they work together, they were looking up each other when they was in the summer holiday. They still having contact, meeting each other, So you start to create one of the 21st century skills is building a network. It's what you do to build your own international network slowly, which is important to have those skills as well as a soft skill. So, and of course, then you have a large European network within the eTwinning community, because there's like 1 million teachers in the system. So you can benefit for future traineeship or your job. So.
Clear. It's different from
Yes.
the old pen pal, right?
Yeah, it's well, the old pen pal was always very nice, because then at some point you get the envelope with some message in there. But this is more of this time and more interesting.
Yeah, it's more modern. Well, eTwinning has this year a new theme, and the theme of the year is new European Bauhaus. You probably all have heard about Bauhaus. It used to be a new concept in the art, where all people with all skills came together and create a new style of art. It's an initiative from the European Commission, and it opens a dialogue on sustainability, head-on item, and focus on blended learning and well-being and inclusion. And with inclusion, we also mean that everybody's equal, as well as in gender, as in race, as in sexuality and background and ability. So, and through eTwinning, you involve students in this team. So I will go back further with you to the practical example, and which is also related to the 11th SDG, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Well, last year I was asked by my German partner, we worked with her in other projects. We worked with 5 teachers from 5 different countries. So from Poland and from Spain, from Portugal, and from Germany and Holland. We worked together on a theme, be smart, be part. And this is the new concept of a smart city. So we divided later. I will show you in the next slide how it looks like in the eTwinning space. So during this, we dealt with a vision of smart cities, as the future is changing and the future needs more other people who live in cities. We have more the urbanization. You see all your cities are completely packed, high density. The buildings rise higher and higher. But how is our energy organized? How can we keep up this planet livable for everyone? So the smart concepts that are needed to keep this planet livable for us and future generations. And therefore, we needed also to implement this theme in our eTwinning project. And they learned all kinds of different IT tools, how we apply them. And in that way, they could cooperate in an international way. And they were also familiar with blended learning. And they tried to be part of a smart eTwinning project. So that's a one-liner. It's short saying, be smart, be part. We called everything smart. It was an amazing project. And we won also a prize in the European department, one of the prizes. And I was someone had an interview with me, and that part of the interview together with my partner from Portugal, they have put that in a new eTwinning yearbook. I didn't know either, but they have an eTwinning yearbook. It will come out it will be published in October, and that will be translated in 28 languages. And then you can read more about the project. We had our mission statement, like our students are the future who can make a smarter world. So if we put all our energy and our worries and our visions in them, they can work on a better planet. You see here the green planet. It was sustainability, internationalization at home with my foreign colleagues. Here you see a little photo of a smart town. On Z-maps, we put in our project, you can see with the balloons which countries took part, as mentioned before. On the right side, you see a screenshot from a student who made in the program SketchUp. He built a smart city, just to have some concrete ideas what we did with them. We had about 227 students. Well, we were 6 teachers. We had some guests. We divided the city in different aspects for smart cities. So we had smart buildings, and smart infrastructure, smart energy, smart government, smart health, smart education, security, but we also had smart nature. And from each theme, one of our teachers was the captain of it, And the students were divided in different groups. So they were all mixed together. So we had combined groups with 5 nationalities, and they worked on a different theme, and they made presentations in the end. And then we dealt with all kinds of themes. I will look if this is working. This link. Yeah. Can you see the twin space, Marcel? Can you see my screen? No?
No, we just see the PowerPoint again.
Okay,
Still.
I will.
Sorry, my mic was off.
No, it's okay. I just asked. I try to. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah, we see the twin space.
Good. Be smart, be part. You see here the logo. There was a little competition of students who had to make a new logo for a smart city. This is the one who won. If you work with eTwinning, I try to be a little bit brief, which is quite hard, I think, because I'm so enthusiastic. It's divided in home, where you have all the news. It's the news where you see all things that happen. You see presentation, quality labels, sustainability in different cities. You see the pages, which is a structure, which are the bones of this project. And in a structural way, you have a project with a plan. You tell about e-safety, copyright, and how to be careful with all things you post and what you borrow. And we had a map of who we were, national teams with a photo, smart map with schools and holiday, sustainability in our schools. Sustainability, you can see my school has made a movie on sustainability. They won a prize this year of the MBO schools in Holland with the most sustainable building, which was a lot of hard work due to my colleagues. Then you can see we had all kind of warming up games to gather all kind of ideas, testing knowledge of smart cities. So we showed examples of cities in diverse countries with dealing with smart cities. This is how we divided it in a big, you can see a little small screenshot with all the countries and the flags and the subjects. They were divided. So students knew on which item they had to work for a couple of weeks or months. I can show you shortly one aspect of smart energy.
Can I add something, Simone, please?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because this is the twin space. So when you have a project, yes. This is a space where you and your partner or partners meet. It's only for you. Nobody else can see it. So if I Google Simone, smart energy, you cannot enter it. And
no.
This is like the stepping stone of your lessons, because sometimes in the eTwinning project, you have lessons. Maybe I in the Netherlands have lessons on Monday in the afternoon, and the Spanish partners have lessons on Thursday in the evening, in the morning. And then each teacher has the same, because you put it in here, same PowerPoint, same assignments, same stepping stones for the curricula. So it really, really helps you to be each week on the same page, although you're in several countries and working on this project. So it really helps you.
Yeah, it's one.
So it's very important to have this place to work in.
Yeah, it's a good attribution you mentioned. I show very shortly Padlets. In a Padlet is like a digital wall where people post things, and everybody was in charge of one subject, posted on the Padlet all kind of subjects and all kind of assignments which students had to make. And then in the end there were presentations like in Powtoon or in other tools which they made, so they could share to their fellow students. So even smart nature, then COVID came, even in COVID times, this was a very useful tool to use, because we weren't allowed to go outside or go to school. So we could work online and meet each other. We could organize here in the forum. We could organize all kind of meetings, or we did it in Teams. So our work went on. Smart nature. And it was, I think, the third lockdown, or the second lockdown last year. I told my students, well, go outside, have some fresh air and find QR codes. And even in nature, they found all kind of QR codes, and they did research on that. And smart health, they developed apps, infrastructure, all kind of different way of traffic they could come up with. So, and you could compare to the old ways. Well, there was a different aspect, and in different cities they show their sustainable inventions, if I may call it that way. We did a crowdfunding, we did crowdfunding. For instance, in my country, I had a crowdfunding. My class organized a crowdfunding for the food bank, and they gathered some money to help all those poor people and during Corona times and who were in difficulties. We had result and disseminations. Always somebody makes a final evaluation and a nice presentation. So this is just in short how people work in a project. Here you've got materials. Every country can post videos and files and pictures, so you can upload those ones if you want to share them. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now, and I will find my PowerPoint back. Yes, this was a little bit about my project. So in a practical way, we challenged our students to work in an intercultural, international way with each other to have a very useful product.
All right. Yeah, mic's on. How would you use eTwinning? It's maybe too short of time to elaborate very much on that, but maybe one of you or two have, based on what you've seen already in this presentation, like an idea of a topic you can apply for eTwinning project. If you have, you can add it in the chat, and we'll have just like 2 or 3 minutes to look at it. Maybe it gives you some tips or help you with the idea. And otherwise, we'll continue with the presentation because it's very short in time. I see people typing, so they might have some ideas already, so that's good. And then afterwards, I'll show you how to find either a project, or if you have this idea, how you put it out there in the eTwinning community to get some partners or partner to start your project with. So this is a nice interlude for that. Can it be used to link green offices, or is it only for classwork? Can you address that, Simone?
I think both, as long as you have a twin partner working at schools or so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Lisanne would like to create a project about learning about green and healthy lifestyle from its students. Well, of course, that's a very good topic to do, and it has more impact than you can imagine, I think. So yes, and it's very interesting to see how, like, for instance, students in Finland think about healthy sport, green, no waste societies, and see in the rest of Europe how they do it. So you can, but it's for me as a tip, it depends on the level of your students, of course, but just focus and ask the students what they would like to learn based on this idea of green and healthy lifestyle. So get them involved in the focus of this project, because that always helps to get them interested and also more creative and innovative to look for answers or solutions for the problem you state them. Activity for each student: research your own carbon footprint. Yes, very nice, good. We did a project with the Plastic Soup Foundation to make people aware that we in the Netherlands have some candy routes. And candy routes, I don't know if you know them, that are the routes from the local school to the local supermarket, where all the kids at 12 o'clock go to get some sandwich and bread and Coke and Red Bull and I don't know, all these things whatever. But when they do, they eat and then they throw everything just by walking back to the school. So they have those polluted walking roads from the school to the supermarket and back. So we had a very interesting challenge that Hans Harm, from the Plastic Soup Foundation sent us a video to challenge our students, to look for the candy routes around your school with the 5 partners in that project, and they come up with solutions for dissolving this problem of the throwing away. So raising awareness, maybe some trash cans, but then the question was, who's going to pay for the trash cans, who's going to empty them every day? So it developed into a very nice project about getting awareness and getting some solutions for those candy roots. So it was very interesting to work with an assignment like that, and with the students. The students were very enthusiastic about it. So,
seen the time.
yeah, seen the time. Move on to the next slide, please. So, again, next slide, Simone. So we talked about the twin space, how it is and how it looks and how you can work together in a secure, safe environment. But before you find a partner to start a twin space, you need to find a partner. And maybe you all have a big, large international network, but not everybody has. So we have the eTwinning Live platform. It's due to change in how it looks and its name at this moment, but this is still the old version. But the specifics will be the same. And what they do at the eTwinning Live platform is it works like a LinkedIn, so you can make your profile. You can see my name at the profile, and you can search at the tab persons. You can search like, I want to see some teacher about mathematics in France, or I want to work with a teacher about I don't know, healthcare in Spain. So you can look for people on that platform. And then we have the tab partner forums. It's underlined in this example, and there we put all the projects based on age, because usually the elementary school is from 4 to 11, round and about. The secondary school is from 12 to 15, and the VET school is from 16 to 19. So all the projects where people are aiming at those age groups, they will put together in those folders, so you can see a list of projects aiming at that age group. Because sometimes a 19-year-old student doesn't want to work with a 5-year-old kid. Maybe when they're in some specialized programs, but usually they want to interact with people from their same age. If you can give me the next slide. So I just choose eTwinning projects 16 to 19, so the VET age, and this is just people, teachers that have ideas and just looking for partners. There was about, I don't know, 6,000 projects now active looking for a partner. So there's plenty of partners, projects to find. And you can see at some point, you can click on one of those partners and there will be an explanation what the the project is about. When does it start? How much weeks do we work in it? It gives extra information, and then you can a reaction. Oh, Simone, you skipped. Yeah, sorry. You can give it a reaction, and then you're talking with this person. And to sum up, if you have a great idea to work on it, you can just say add new bericht maken, add a new project. Then you can type in your own project, and then people start reacting on it, and then you can communicate and maybe find a partner to start up your project. And then when you start up the project, you go apply for the twin space. It's just like an email to the eTwinning help desk, and they will provide you with the twin space, and then you can filling up with the courses and the PowerPoints, and you see what Simone put in there, and you can reuse the twin space. So next year you can just add, move some dates, make some other assignments or some other topics, but you can reuse the work you put in to make the twin space. And the twin space is as easy as a PowerPoint. So you can, if you can make a PowerPoint, you can make the twin space. You don't have to be an ICT nerd to make it. So next slide, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Yeah. So what you can do is to go to eTwinning.net, www.etwinning.net, and create a eTwinning account. It's just ask for some name and some data, email addresses as well, and you can put in your what is it you're teaching, what language do you speak, more information about yourself, And then you can find if there are any other eTwinning colleagues of you in your school or in your network. You can subscribe to the eTwinning Higher Education News Update. You get emails about some training courses or all interesting facts and changes and chances to be with eTwinning. And you can visit the nuffic.nl website because there's a lot of internationalization at home feeds and information. So, yes. We have a help desk. Julian is with us here. He's from the help desk. His colleagues, they were like not 24/7, but they're 5 days a week. They're reachable by email or phone just to help you set up your account, or if you have problems, or if you need some guidance. And you can sign up with all those eTwinning, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We got all instruction movies there, how to start up an eTwinning account, how to we have some inspirational projects there to see how it works in the classroom. We didn't have time to add a video, but if you look to the YouTube eTwinning NL, Google it, you'll see some inspirational videos about the eTwinning. Yes, next slide. If you have any questions, please address them now. Maybe, I don't think the group is that big. You can turn on your mic and ask the question or put it in the chat. And then after, there is a survey, it's in Dutch. It's about how the presentation was and what we could improve for next presentation. You would really help us to take a screenshot and do this survey. But you will get the video and you will get the PowerPoint afterwards, I think, so you can do it in a later moment. But you will really help us to do that. There's the feedback survey, is also the link in the chat. So are there any questions?
Well, thank you, Marcel and Simone. I think it's very informative. Your presentation gives a good view on all the possibilities it offers. So maybe some questions to conclude, or maybe it was so very clear to everybody that there's not any question to be raised. Is there any question? But I guess you did a good job, Marcel and Simone, and that everyone is flabbergasted about eTwinning. And,
Thank you.
and, well, it's a nice way to spread the word and to use also on the paper for it. And, I think it's well. I've one question for me: does all the schools and institutions use it already, or is it still much more to be used? How do you see it? You have
It's much more to be used, I think. Yeah.
Much more to be used.
What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, I agree. I think especially for VET, because then the language skills are quite okay to interact. It's different from when you're in elementary school. But yes, sometimes people, it's just unknown, and it's like, it's so much work. No, it's not so much work. It's the same as you do your lesson. You don't need to add it to your curricula. You just implement it. So use a task you already have to do for your curricula and just do it in means of eTwinning. So that would help to work with it. But always, that's why we're here as eTwinning ambassadors, to get more people on eTwinning. And I think we must. Traveling is nice and it's beautiful, but it's an inclusive way. eTwinning is an inclusive way to get all people from levels 1 to 4 in VET, or involved in intercultural competences and meaning and curiosity, what I started this presentation with, about other cultures, and it's for everybody then. So
good,
yeah.
good. So
right.
Thank you, Marcel and Simone. We come to
You're welcome.
the end of this session. There are 3 more sessions to come this afternoon, and tomorrow the final day with the Ellen Carson Prize and the Sustainable. So we hope to see you back in the next sessions or tomorrow in Amsterdam or on online. So thank you for now, and
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
bye bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.